Let me show you how to make a quick, simple, super easy to put together card. Let's get to it. So welcome back everybody. I'm going to be mixing and matching a few things today. I have Newton's Nook as for my stencils and my stamp. I have Stampin' Up! Inks and a Distress ink and a VersaFine ink. And we're going to put together a really straightforward, quick card. Hopefully I can do it in one take. Let's see how we go. I also have some Gina K cardstock. So real mix up of things in my stash, and that's the key thing. Shop your stash. It's amazing how many different products work so nicely together. So let's get going. So just move some stuff out the way and I will explain a few things. So the cardstock, I have Gina K's, I believe this is the lilac colour, but it's 8.5 by 5.5 scored at 4 1/4 to make a little landscape card this way. It was the colour that best matched the ink, so I thought that would work nicely. And then I have a few pieces here. This white piece, I've put the measurement on the back, is 3 3/4 by 5, and this is a mixed media cardstock from WH Smith. So use what you have. A plain white, good, decent quality cardstock should work fine. It's just very basic ink blending that we're going to do, but I just thought I'd give this a whirl. I have quite a bit of it. And then my black piece is 1/8 of an inch bigger, so whatever that measurement is. So that's my 2 layers, so we need that in a minute. Then I have these 2 pieces. This again is the mixed media cardstock, and this one is 3/4 of an inch by 5, and this one I determined by the size of my stamp. So I took my stamp and literally measured it to make sure it would fit in the gap. So that's an easy way to get strips of cardstock for your for your sentiments, if you don't have dies that will cut them out. And then the piece that, the black piece behind it, you can see that is just, it's about 1/8 of an inch wider. I had to kind of guess because my paper trimmers don't allow me to measure that well. So I just kind of eyeballed it a bit, but it's about 1/8 of an inch bigger. So that's for the sentiment. So in fact, let me get the sentiment strip stamped first, because I'm going to use VersaFine Onyx Black ink, and this ink takes a little bit of time to dry, so while we're doing our ink blending this can be drying. So just going to ink that up, super easy, and then somewhat line this up centered. So apologies for my head. That looks about right. It looks a little skew, but that's fine. We're just going to go with it. It's Halloween, right? Doesn't matter. And then we've got our Happy Halloween. Ta-da! So, like I say, I'm going to leave that to one side just to dry off a bit. Ignore my cat, as usual. He's trying to clamber in here. So make sure I've got the right side for this. So I have 2 stencils here. These are both Newton's Nook, and I'm just going to grab them out of there. One is the Flying Bats, oh sorry, and the other one is Pumpkin Patch. I've used both of these before in different projects and things, so yeah, really nice stencils, good quality. So what I want to do is just grab, in fact let's use this one just because it's got bats on it. Just some washi tape, and this is just a rough guide. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm going to find somewhat of the center. About there. Again, it doesn't even have to be straight. It's just a rough guide as to what's going to be my like grasp it. And the other way to double check is that your thing will, your your sentiment will fit over the top anyway, so that's fine. This is just a guide, and then also I can stick it down a little bit while I'm working on each section. So let's just do this just for added stickage. So for the bottom section, I'm going to start with my pumpkins, and I'm going to use pumpkin pie, ironic, from Stampin' Up, and I'm going to use this ink to create, just get some stuff out of the way, to create my pumpkins, obviously, and I am going to stick this down temporarily, just kind of working out which section of the pumpkins I want. That looks pretty good. And these pumpkins do go upside down and all that, so I'm not too worried about that. I just want this part here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a smaller brush. Actually, I've got an even smaller one that I will use. Let me just get that. Even smaller one for, ooh, just knocked that right out. A smaller brush for the details. So to start with, I'm going to do the pumpkins. So I'm just going to grab some ink and just gently go over the pumpkin areas. There are some leafy bits as well, so just not worried too much about the stalks, not worried if it overlaps, it's not the end of the world. Just to get the pumpkin colour on. And then you can go back for a bit more colour if you want more colour. Just like that. Super simple. That's all I do really. So, and then I'm going to take the old olive. I thought there was a nice green. And we're going to go in with the little brush, minus the cat hair. And go over, there's some leaf and what are those things, twill, I don't know what they're called, those little things that come off pumpkins, and just go in with those, on those, and get some colour in. And having the smaller brush means you can get into those detailed areas, which is handy. But again, I'm not too worried if something overlaps. It's handmade. Just a couple more. And some of the stalks, I've even overlapped that with the orange. Did notice I kind of got this pumpkin was a bit, kind of got a straight line there. So just getting some more blending. But sometimes the pumpkins have a bit of green on them before they're ripe, so it doesn't matter if you get a bit. The main thing to watch for is going above this line. So if you need a bigger piece of tape there while you do this section, that's fine. But just blending in a bit of the greens on there. That should be good. So we're now going to take that off, and I will clean that later. I think I'm okay up here, but let's just clean up, just so we don't smear it everywhere. But before I do my bats, I actually want to use the Gorgeous Grape. Again, another great Stampin' Up, oh that was noisy, colour. And I'm going to go quite light-handed. I want some sky, and so I needed to get some sky on, but I wanted it to coordinate. I've got no other blue on this card, so the purple sky I thought would be quite nice. It's very basic blending, nothing too horrendous. Everybody can do this. And like I say, even if this was on a plain, you know, box standard cardstock, this should still work quite nicely. It should still, let me get that off there, should still work really quite well. And then round the edges I'm just going a little darker, just for some added depth. Remember, this middle section is going to be covered by our sentiment strip, so that don't overthink that section. Oh, if I can get this to close, that would be nice. Right, so this does have some excess around here. So just giving that a little wipe. My cat's, my husband's trying to keep him sane. Right, so now we're going to shove this on the top. Technical term, of course. I'm going to shove it on there and put the bat's stencil on there, and again I'm going to just tape that down so I've got it held down enough. And then I'm going to take my distress ink now, only because I didn't have another ink that I thought would work. I don't have another black ink that I can use over the top of this, if that makes sense. I suppose a Memento ink might work quite nicely, and it will dry quite quickly, so that might work. Or if you have any of the other companies, you know, Lawn Fawn, Gina K, they all have their own brand of like a black ink. Stampin' Up! Just don't, I don't think, anymore. I think they used to. They used to have an archival one, I think. Anyway, getting my bats on. Just like that. Get the ink off my hands, that'd be nice. And then look it. And again, I'll clean that later. Let's just clean up a little here. Now we have this cool, almost like a kind of like a scene. I lost my words there. Kind of like a scenery where you've got your pumpkin patch and then you've got your sky with your bats. So one more thing I want to do, but I'm just going to clean this up a bit, make sure I haven't got any other colours, is the pumpkin patch looks a little, I guess, white. So let's just see if that's gonna, I mean, that will work, but this has a background to it and I want to fill in some of that. So I'm just going to take the green, the old olive, and just go around the edge slightly, so just to give it a little bit of colour again. In fact, you could just go over the whole thing. Let's just do that. You're still going to have that look of that pumpkin patch, but just very lightly going over it, just so that the background has got some colour on it as well. Just like that. How easy was that? So now we have our pumpkin patch, we have our bats in the sky. Right, let's put this together. Excuse me. So I'm going to start with this piece. And I've got just a tape runner Is that the right way? Oh yeah. Make sure your card's the right way up. And sounds like my kids are causing havoc, so I'm going to have to hurry this up. But I'm going to, I know you can't see this very well, but I'm going to line this up just so it's got a tiny border all the way around, if I can. As best I can. That'll work. So now you can see there's just a little border around it. I like this look as well. Then what I'm going to do is stick this on next. Oh, and I think that's just run out. Of course. Right in the middle of a video, so I'll be sticking adhesive now. I've got a Simon dot adhesive here, so we will use that instead. And this piece only goes on this edge of the background piece. That's what I'm trying to say. So this is going to go somewhat in the middle. You see that's sort of straight. Oops. This always takes me ages to line it up. We're going with it. It's as straight as it's going to be right now. Let's just say that. And then I'm going to stick this strip on. And this should be easier. Because you're just getting the border, just making sure the border's about right, top and bottom, like so. And that should be dry enough. And then we're simply going to stick this to the card. Doesn't that look cool? Oh, if I can get it in the middle. Why can't I do this, guys? Honestly. Never seem to be able to line these things up. Close enough. Right, there you go, guys. One cute, simple, easy to mass produce at least. Just do it in sections and you'll get these done super quick. But I hope you like this, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you stay tuned for the next one. As soon as we're in October now, I'm pretty much going to do Halloween everything, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, thanks for sticking by, thanks for sticking to the end of the video, and I will see you in the next one, guys. Bye for now.